Hello, this is Mr. Best. Welcome to Chapter 3, Homework Questions 65 through 70. Question 65. Solve the missing links in the sets of similar figures below. You may want to set up tables to help you write equations. So on Part A, look at your similarity statement. AB matches up with JK, which is the x, so that's good. So we can say 12 over x, that's one of our ratios, is equal to, now we need to match up AD. And so AD matches up with JM, which is 10. So that means 6 over 10. And that gives us enough information to solve. So we have 6x is equal to 120. Divide by 6, and x is equal to 20. So we know that x is equal to 20 millimeters. Make sure we do use our units for these. All right, on to Part B. We have xz. So xz matches up with np, so that's 3. So we'll do 39 over 3. And then zy, so zy matches up with op, and that represents 7. So it looks like we have w over 7. Once again, we can cross multiply. We get 273, divide by 3, and w is equal to 91 millimeters again on this one for units. Question 66. Examine each diagram below. Which diagrams are possible? Which are impossible? Justify your conclusion. So in Part A, we have a right triangle. So if this is possible, then we should be able to use Pythagorean theorem and state that 5 squared plus 14 squared should be equal to 20 squared. So 5 squared is 25, 14 squared is 196, and 20 squared is 400. So you can see if you add 196 and 25, that's not even close to 400. So we get 221 is not equal to 400. So this is impossible. The other thing that some of you might have chosen to do was to say that 5 plus 14 is equal to 19. So that's the maximum size, a little less than that actually, that you could have for that third side, and it's at 20. So using your triangle inequality theorem as well, that we could state that it is impossible because this third side needs to be between, and if we want to be more specific, we could say that that value has to be less than 19 and greater than 9. And since it's not, it doesn't work as well. So there's another possibility. On Part B, is that possible or not? And don't get confused because it looks like these lines are parallel, but there is no marking. There would have to be a marking to say that they are parallel. If they are parallel, then these two sides should be congruent. But since it doesn't have those markings, we can't do that. We can't indicate that or say that for sure. So therefore, this is possible. As long as the sides are not as long as those lines are not parallel, it's possible. And on Part C, 63, 59, and 57, and you can add up using the triangle angle sum theorem. Add up the 3 angles, and if they add up to 180 exactly, then it will work. If not, then it will not. And so let's add those up, and it looks like if we add them up, we get 179 degrees. Even though it's close, it's not exact. So once again, this one is impossible. And on Part B, you might want to justify your conclusion. I didn't write it down, but we did, I did talk about it, indicating that the lines would have to be parallel for that to be, for those corresponding angles to be equal. Question 67. Look at all this stuff. All right. Recall from problem 3-56, so you might need to go back, that Renee can take one of her 4 buses to get home. Once she is on the bus, she will randomly select one of the following equally likely activities: the MP3 player, the writing the letter, reading a book. Now we're going to create a tree diagram like the one started below. Is one way to organize the outcomes of the sample space. Last time we just listed all the 12 possibilities. This structure organizes the list by connecting each bus with each activity. So similar to what we did before. In this tree, the first set of branch represents the bus options, which is 41, 28, 55, and 81. At the end of each of these branches are branches representing the activities. For example, if you follow the bold branches, Renee will take bus number 41 and will listen to her MP3 player. On your paper, complete this tree diagram. Show all the different travel options that Renee can take. What is the probability that Renee does not read on the way home? So kind of similar to last time, we do need to add our last bus here of 81. And then we have 1, 2, 3. So once again, read, write, listen. 1, 2, 3. Read, write, listen. 1, 2, 3. Read, write, and listen. And those are the 12 possibilities. So we know there's 12 possibilities. What is the probability that she does not read on the way home? So what do we have here? Where is she not reading? Writing, listening, writing, listening, writing, listening, writing, listening. So 2, 4, 6, 8 out of 12 possibilities. So 8 out of 12, whoops. Try that again. 8 out of 12, which we could reduce by a factor of 4, and that would be 2/3 of a probability. On part B, Renee's cousin Greg can get home using the 101 bus or by going with his older brother. On the way home, Greg can listen to MP3 player, play video games on his MP3 player, read his novel for English, or talk to the person next to him. Make a tree diagram for all the possible outcomes. What is the probability Greg uses his MP3 player? So get some room here. So now we're going to create our own tree diagram. And this one, he can get home using a bus or by going with his older brother. So those are the two options to start with. So I've drawn the diagram, the tree diagram. I got the bus and the brother, and then the 4 different options that he has. The probability question that is being asked is Greg uses his MP3 player. So when you read through this, if you paid attention, it says listen to his MP3 player or play video games on his MP3 player. So when the probability says use his MP3 player, that's going to occur 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 8 possibilities. So the probability is 4 out of 8, which is 1/2 or 50%. Question 68. Determine whether or not the reasoning in the flowchart below is correct. If it is wrong, redo the flowchart to make it correct. So let's see what we have here. When it rains, Andrea's flowers close up. Andrea's flowers are closed up. Does that mean it is raining? All right, so when it rains, Andrea's flowers close up. So we know when it's raining that happens. Also, Andrea's flowers are closed up. But it doesn't say that that's the only reason they close up. So this would be incorrect to state that it is raining. We don't know it's raining. There could be closed up for a different reason. So what we could do is we actually could take this statement here and move it here. So when it rains, Andrea's flowers close up. If it is raining, so if we switch that bubble to that one, and then move this one to here, then we know if it is raining, then Andrea's flowers are closed up. So that is a way to redo the flow chart to make it correct. Really just switch those 2 bubbles around. Question 69. Assume that each pair of shapes below is similar. Describe a sequence of transformations that can show this. Remember that there can be more than one way. So on this one, you're really just describing those transformations, how they could look. If they are similar, there's different ways that we can do this. So just kind of, go through, look at these, think about what you can do. I'm just going to give you a couple different options on each of these. But like I said, really just think about it yourself and how you could do that. We want this angle right here to match up with this one. So it looks like we could potentially do a rotation. We might need to do a reflection to get it in that corner right there as well. So a couple different things there. And also translate it, so we need to move it over. But it doesn't appear we need to do any dilations on this one because all the side lengths are congruent. On part B, we have these 2 sides that are congruent that it's showing you here and here, and then same thing with the other 2, they're just different lengths. And so we potentially could maybe do a rotation if we found that point to rotate it around, but you could rotate it so this point matches back up with this one. You might also be able to do a translation and a rotation as well. On part C, you can tell that the figures are They're not congruent, so they can be that. We're assuming that they're similar, but they're not congruent. So we are going to have to do a dilation on this one. We might need to rotate it and then potentially dilate it because we need to get these radius lined up and also where the circles inside the circles are. So looks like we'd have to do a rotation and a dilation by a factor of 2, and we do know that because this length is 5 and this length is 10. So we do know we need to dilate it by a factor of 2. And then on D, we have different sized triangles again. It looks like, once again, by a factor of 2. So potentially might need to do a reflection on this one. Yeah, it looks like we need to maybe reflect it and then possibly rotate it. But we also have to do a dilation, and it is going to have to be a zoom factor. I said 2, but since we're going from the bigger one to the smaller one, your zoom factor will need to be 1/2. It's getting half the size there. Question 70. Sketch each triangle if possible. If not possible, explain why not. So right isosceles triangle. So we could go here and here. These two could be the same. That makes an isosceles and it forms a right angle. B. A right obtuse triangle. So if you have a right angle, that's 90. Then the only thing you have left is 90 more degrees, and you can't connect those 2 points with one of those being obtuse. So the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B is equal to 90. So there's no way that either one of those could be an obtuse angle. So therefore this one is not possible. And the important thing is to be able to explain why it's not possible, not just that it's not possible. On C, you got a scalene equilateral triangle. Not possible because equilateral means all the sides are the same, and scalene means that none of the sides are the same, so you can't have both things happening on that particular example. So once again, not possible. And that's really understanding what a scalene triangle is and what an equilateral triangle is. And part D, acute scalene triangle. So it has to be acute, which means all the sides have to be less than 90, and they have to be of different size. So could we do something maybe like this? And I'm not sure exactly what the side lengths would be, but somewhere like that where we could make sure that all of these angles are less than 90 degrees. So that one is possible. And I probably shouldn't put that 6 there because that might actually be an obtuse one, but you could close up the 3 and the 4 a little bit and make those angles a little bit more acute on that one.